Hey, it's Pete from Nova. Rainy Friday. Uh, Battling the puddles here. Luckily, I got my muckers on. So we have a special sort of custom bike today, and it's in our secret lab, my little secret lab, and I'll show you what we're working on in here. So it's a little tight in here, but this is sort of like the special projects warehouse. I should have looked this up, but what year is this? I think it's a 2019. Maybe it's earlier. I'm forgetting. But it's a Moto Guzzi V73 Racer. And you can see the tanks on the ground over there. It's a great bike. Moto Guzzi is a great company. It's had some modifications, and the owner of the bike brought it to us and said, I like what you guys do. Do whatever you want. Just make it special. And we're like, oh, that's kind of the dream job, the dream client. So we've been doing that, working on it, but it's just super slow to do. So luckily, he's got super abundance of patience. So we are making some progress. So it's going to have a custom seat, custom tank. But then we wanted to do some special stuff on the steering and the front shocks. And one of those things is to swap out the stock OEM shocks with Öhlins shocks. And they are a slightly larger diameter. So that means we can't use the stock triple tree. On the internet, people are buying a Ducati triple tree that fits most of these pieces. And we have those parts, but we found that they don't quite fit together as well as we want, and we lose some functionality. And because we like to build bikes that you can ride and that are safe and are functional, we decided to do it a different way. So what we did was we sent the Ducati triple tree and a copy of the stock OEM triple tree, which you can see here, and we had them 3D scanned, and we're working with an engineering firm based out of Holyoke called CoFab, and they basically scanned both pieces and melded them together. So they 3D printed this for us. Basically, this is the larger stanchion tube melded onto the stock triple tree. So everything is stock except for these much larger clamp sizes.
Ducati,
Moto Guzzi, Moto Guzzi. The reason we wanted to do that was, well, there's a lot of different reasons. One is that we don't want to change the wheel position. So the Ducati one was shallower, so it would move the front wheel back a little bit, which would change the handling of the bike. The other thing is that this ignition is not only to turn on the bike, but it also locks the handlebar. So there's a pin that goes into it, and it aligns with a pin on the frame. So if we move that, then you lose the ability to lock your handlebars and walk away from your bike. The third reason is that there's little stoppers on the lower triple tree that keep the handlebars from hitting the tank. And that's really important, especially if we're going to put a custom tank on here that was custom handmade. We don't want the handlebars to be hitting that tank. So we wanted all of the OEM features that keep this usable and safe and practical, but we wanted the high performance Öhlins shocks, which are a larger diameter. So how do you do that? So this is what we did. We worked with them. We described what we want. They 3D scanned both sets of parts and then melded them in CAD software, and then we printed this out, and this is our test fit. So the next step on this bike is to tear this front end down and then test fit this all to make sure that the ignition fits and the steering stoppers work as intended. and then those Olin. So we do have the Olin shocks, so I'm going to show you that. They do fit into this. I close this box up. These beautiful high performance shocks. Let's see, are much larger than the stock stanchion tube. So we can see this slides in perfectly into the 3D printed demo mock-up, and then this would get threaded bolts, and it would clamp just like the stock one would, except now we're using the much nicer Olin's upgrades. So yeah, so that's what we're working on. Also working on the tank, which we're having a builder work on that, building like the mock-up for that. So that's coming next, and we'll probably do a video on that as we get closer. But that's what we're working on. If you have questions about custom builds or any questions on the 3D part, the 3D scanning or printing that we did, we'll put a link to CoFab in there, or you can email us or comment, and we can answer any questions that you had. So that's what we're working on. So like and subscribe the video. I know people are going to be asking, this is a 1972 Alfa Romeo. This is my personal non-motorcycle project. I bought this from a little old lady in the Berkshires, and it was her daily driver, so it runs, but the interior was completely shot. So I pulled all the interior out. There was a couple rust issues that we're replacing and fixing, and I think we just showed some of the seats and stuff that are going to go back in once we got it done.
Seats.
Yeah, our friend Nick reupholstered those for us. He's like exceptional talent at it. So, and then the door panels and everything goes back together, and hopefully I'll be driving that this summer. So, yeah. So this is sort of like the little special shop. This is like my mini projects. So yeah. Like and subscribe. Follow us for more of the custom content. Hopefully we getting more of those pieces on there. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy.